Okay, I'll show you how to build this and get your bird to use it as well. It's actually proven. I have a 3-month-old kakariki and I've already tried it twice on him. So let's go through it. Everyday items you have at home. Simple enough. These from your local hardware store. So the plank, $6. One plank, $6. You can have a TV unit, a bedside table, you can use a piece of wood, anything that size, as long as it's enough to support the bottom. But you also need screws. Basic thing, $4 each, these containers. You only use 16, so work it out, it's 1-2 cents each. So if you actually have something like that at home, you already cut your budget straight away. Okay, the next step is you're gonna go out and you're gonna be like your bird. You're gonna forage. You're gonna look for that pole. You're gonna look for that stick. You're walking the dog. You see a park on the way home from work. You're gonna stop. Make it a mental note. Don't pick it up. Just go, well, that might be nice. You know, you can find out something that's actually pretty straight. So go home, settle down, sort out your family, enjoy your time, and just go off with your saw. Come back half an hour later and just take a few. As you can see, I had this one as well, which I thought was going to be cool, but then I foraged and found this one. And there's leftovers, everything else, because I've already used it on the inside cage because he loves big branches. So you're going to find the main one. First step is get it centered. You're going to look and think, well, what size bird do I have? My bird is a kakariki, 3-month-old. He weighs 40 grams. As you can see, that is quite enough, because the higher you go, the bigger and thicker you need to get this. See how it's thick on the side, but it's pretty thin? Your bird's bigger and a lot heavier. You're going to need to then make the base a bit bigger. And that's what, in the end, when he grows up, I'm just going to add that onto the bottom of that with the weights. So with this here, I will show you putting it on here. Even with it on, the artificial grass is not even completely level. That is 1.5 kilos just swinging. He's not even 30 grams. So that just shows you, depending on your bird, what you can build. So, and obviously you're going to have weights on it, but it doesn't matter what the bottom looks like because you're going to do something to hide it. So first step is you got your branch. Make a nice level bottom. Make sure you can see how the center of it there, the main weight is down the center. It doesn't matter if it's off a little bit, because you can use these from your foraging, which you can cut. As you can see, that's how I did it. That's how I did it there, cutting it off. So cut a piece there, or cut a piece across there, and then cut a piece there, and you get 2 pieces. You can do 4 if you want and stack it up, but like I said, he's only 30 grams. So you can do that to stabilize it a bit better if you don't have a completely straight stick, which I do. So you've got that sorted out. Next, you're going to go to the end and you're just going to stand back and just go, okay, where is the next stick coming from? This one at the top. Where do I want it angled with the base to make sure it is perfectly straight and balanced? So you find your stick and then you start chiseling. See how I made a groove? I've made a smaller one here, which is going to go on top of his cage. Comes out like this. Using your household tools, that's what you do. Just make some cuts with your thing, with your saw. Get your drill out, make some drills, and then just get your screwdriver and the hammer as a chisel and make that out. It is actually better not to be perfect, because in the end, when you put it together, you want your stick to actually jam in there and actually give you a bit more security and steadiness for your actual cage. So he's going to sit on top, and then I'm going to hook him in and put some hooks in here to make sure it's stable on top of the cage. But that was just an example to show you guys. So you made that, you made the top. All right, next you're going to have to insert the bottom. You need big ones, biggest ones you can get. This is what's going to protect your stand from swinging. So you're going to, what I do is drill little holes in the middle of your bottom, so it makes it easier, because this wood's pretty solid, and then drill through your bottom. So drill through a little bit at first. This is non-stick, so what I did is actually got some leftover pieces of paper, like just materials outside. So that's what that is there. That's non-stick, so you can put that on your floor so it doesn't scratch. You can put it on your carpet so it doesn't actually rip up the carpet. But that's what that is. On the other side here, this is a small perch, of course. It's just a small version of this one. It's just non-stick outside mat that you get just cut up, because in the end it's not going to matter because it's going to be hidden, and he's just going to sit on top of that. I just don't want him to fly off down and have it too high. This is going to go on his cage, so he can just get on this perch, jump down to here, return into his cage, because he'll claw himself way down. I just don't want him landing on the cage at the top because it might hurt his claws. So like I said, big perch, little perch diagram. So you are now got your drill bits. You can go into your non-stick side there, and then same thing again, just drill through with your drill. Get your drill bit there, drill through, make a little bit of incision so it's that much out, and then make sure you place your perches on top. And then drill away, because it doesn't really matter, because this is going to be at the top here. So then you put your perches on top, you put your, once you get them secured in, because this one's small, this one's perfect if you have like a small cage and you just want your bird to hop out. Like, just put it in front of his cage, let him, give him the option. You know, birds are meant to fly. In the end, I'll show you that you can actually train this to be like a dog leash. And when I bring this one out, I've already tried it with Ang. He's excited when I bring this out. I hide it on him, and when I bring this out, he knows it's like walk time for a dog. So you'll get used to it, and it is pretty just you and your bird. You don't want people around. You don't want anyone getting distracted. You don't want people to accidentally let your bird out. This is just for you when you sit down, watch some YouTube, nice and calm. You don't make any loud sounds. You've got your headphones on, but one open so you can hear your bird, and just let him fly. And this is what it's all about. So it's not going to look pretty in the end, but this is what happened. So we're at the bottom. So you've got your cast there, and then you drill in here. And that's what you do to stabilize. See how it's stabilized there? Perfectly done. As you can see, non-stick bottom again. And then you have a look at your bird, and then just sit again. This is over time. Just sit there and look at it. And then what you do is work out where this main branch wants to be. So you want it stabilized, guys. It doesn't matter too much because you're going to drill it in. And what you do with this top drill is just get your drill bit and just drill a little bit higher, because you want to get that drill, that screw right in there, because you don't want your bird landing on any washers or screw that's sitting on top. So just use your drill bit to make a little bit of an opening, a bit more, and then drill it down in. So he's not going to do, because this here has to be smooth, and that's where your sandpaper comes in. So before you attach the top, you're going to have to go through and cut. See how I cut it in small little square bits around, and then get this on top and do this with every bit of your perch. Go around, make sure that nothing is there that's going to hurt your bird on landing, because this is going to be the first time he's out of the cage that he's not hopping. He's going to be flying at this at the fastest speed that he actually ever has. So you do not want your bird grabbing on something at the top and hurting his foot at all. You want all this smooth. So I've gone through and smoothed it out. You can see how you get little knots like that. Just use your saw, trim it off, use your sandpaper, get rid of it. You do not want your bird hurting at all. So you've got the main shaft up, you got that on top, you worked out which angle your bird wants to fly at. So I've got a higher perch because I know that he likes going high, but I'll give him options to land. He's going to land in the middle because obviously birds will go closer to the branch out there to make it stable for him landing, and then drill it in. So now you should have the stability of it. Check it. It's not really going to matter. Doesn't, you know, in the end, what I do is I just put these left over. You can put anything else. You can put anything you want to weigh it down that you have laying around the house. And then when you went to the hardware store, you pick up this. So this is just your average box, you know, you get. So put some paper clips, put some just your paper that you get from a printer paper, use your saw, cut it out, reinforce it, and there you also have a poo tray. So let's see what I mean, at the bottom doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to people, because who cares? This is your, you know, your time with you and your bird. This is easy enough. You can make it smaller if you want, but it is a simple way of just cleaning it up. You're going to have 2 hours a day, maybe letting your bird out, whatever time you have time to do with him. But in the end, that is just simply done like that. So that would be drilled into the top. So you got the weight on the bottom. And then with training him, what I did is when I made this over time, I just kept sitting this outside of his cage. He's inside, he'd look at it, he's like, okay. And then I'd move it around just so that he'd notice it. And then in the end, I put some berries over. His favourite food is actually spinach and grapes. So what I did is tied spinach and grapes together, and I hung it over here. And the spinach reflected as it, like he saw it in his eyes, and he knew, and it was one of his favourite things. So when he let out, he obviously flew around the house. You can find out your birds will actually fly to weird spots, and you can just make a mini one of these doing the same thing. See, there's a mini one there. Cut up and across you go. Make a base there, put your paper on, and then you can make them around a place where your bird feels the safest. So if it's on top of a fridge, you can just make a mini one of them. Remember guys, this is your time. Who cares what it looks like at all? So that is the end product. You can then make endless amounts with your forage stuff and your leftover wood, if you wanted to make other perches around your house. So maybe he hops onto the kitchen table, get him to land. He'll naturally land on a branch, then something square. You can then work out with your training by moving him further and further away. Mine's really young, so he doesn't like, and he couldn't fly. On the first 2 attempts, he landed on the couch, he landed on the kitchen table, and then he finally got up to the door handle of the fridge, and then was on top of the fridge. And then he went back to his cage, which is safe spot. And then what I did is I put the perch out to where he could see it. He then, after putting the grapes on, noticed that he actually, after a couple of minutes, got up on top of the perch with the grapes, and he was foraging. So with this on the bottom, he dropped it down, and what I did is walked up very slowly with my back down so he can still see his cage in vision, not even looking him in the eyes, and then went across, and he flew to his cage. Picked up his grapes, again made him see that his grapes were up there, returned to the cage slowly with my head down so he can see the perch, and then he returned to the perch. And we did that several times. And he's only young, he's only 3 months old, so it wasn't a far flight. It was maybe 3 meters, 4 meters. In the end, he's going to get 10, 15, but he's quite young. I could see at the start, he struggled to get up, and I didn't want to overwork him, but it worked. And this then will sit on top of his cage, so that will be his return perch. So at the end of it, I don't want him sitting on top. That's why I've only done it twice or 3 times, because he lands on top of his cage. But I just really want him to land on top of this so that his fingers and claws do not get hurt. So that's how you see I'm ready to drill those into the top of him. And that's going to go on top of his cage. I'm going to put that on top at the start just because it's going to weight down, just to get him, some exercise. And that's the thing. In the end, guys, you're going to be watching him because he's flying. Like, that's part of having a bird. It's good to look at him in his pretty colours, but having a kakariki, like, these things are meant to actually do aerobatics in the actual air, which I'm actually really curious about. And he is really good because he has no powder as well. So there's no powder in his feathers, so it doesn't make a mess over his house. I was lucky enough to get him as a 3 months old at an auction, and it was something I was looking for because it was a perfect style bird for me, but he can't be outside because it's just too hot here, and he has to fly. At the end of it, I walk my dog. My bird should fly. If there's any other questions, and see how he goes. It's going to be a future video, but I had my first moments with him without video on because he was just, it was out of time, if you know what I mean, and I didn't want to scare him by the video. If you want to let your bird out the first time with your perches, have someone on the couch, just sitting there, don't move, just record from a distance, and you do your slow movements to training to get used to it, because you know what, he's out there, doesn't know what's going on, he's looking at everything, he's confused as you guys are. Don't scare him. You don't want to get up and in flight for him to change direction and actually hurt himself, and just keep foraging. If this one works for you and you think you can do better, just do it. It's just an easy base that I showed you that can make secure, and you got your top over there. Who cares? And it can be lifted up. The box can come off quite easily, as you saw. And the base I can just pick up without the weights on it, of course, and just put that in my closet. Put it out away at sight, purely because it's the same as your dog leash. You don't sit your dog leash on the kitchen table. You can just hide this for when you want to walk or fly your bird. And that is quite simply how it is done. Hope you enjoyed, and bye.